who is the best Final Fantasy protagonist to you? I think we've discussed this before, and it's interesting because some of the best games either don't have a really interesting protagonist or they have multiple protagonists, like Final Fantasy VI. Well, let's see. Okay, so 1 and 2 don't really count because the protagonist is a generic silent guy. Yeah, right. 3, if you play the remake on the Nintendo DS or PSP, there is a protagonist, but not really. You can clearly see there are 4 main characters in there, and who's the real main person there? I don't know. But the characters were kind of forgettable in there. 4 has a protagonist, Cecile. Great character, but I never liked the fact that he goes from the Dark Knight to the Light Knight. And it happens kind of early in the game. I was hoping to play like 80% of the game with Cecile dark as hell, and then at the end go into the light. Or the other way around, be the Light Knight and then shit happens and then he goes the Dark Knight. That's why I like Final Fantasy IV, but that's also why I'm not the biggest fan of it. Because that thing, that being the Dark Knight, the edgy knight, and then 4 or 5 hours later you're the light power of friendship type of character, that kind of killed it for me. 5, Bart, the main character, right? He's just there. He's an interesting protagonist, but at the same time, not really. He's just there. 6, though, that's a problem because he has multiple protagonists, just like 3. Terra was advertised as if she was the main character. A lot of people consider Terra as the main character in Final Fantasy VI, but I don't know, she just doesn't feel like the one to me. Oh, there are like several main characters in that game. But for the sake of choosing one, let's go with Terra. And I think she's a heck of a character. She gets some great development. She's a bit overrated. She's not that super interesting of a main character, but she's a great protagonist. So far, she's the best. And then 7, we got Cloud. Cloud is a really good protagonist. I know a lot of people feel like the game is overrated and Cloud is overrated, but if you stick to the original game on the PS1, forget about every single spin-off or sequel or prequel or whatever, even the remakes, Cloud is a really good protagonist. He isn't your average 17-year-old guy with the power of friendship and charisma and trying to be friendly with everybody and open-minded and whatever, and saving the world and fighting God. He's just not. How many protagonists like Cloud can you name right now out there in JRPGs? You can't even make a top 10, man. So yeah, also one of the best protagonists in the Final Fantasy series, Cloud. Just not the best. Final Fantasy VIII, we got Squall. He is interesting at the beginning, but his edginess and his relationship with Rinoa grows tiresome over time. At the end, you're like, oh my god, just fucking kiss her already. Kiss her, man. And yeah, it gets tiresome, and his edginess and silent, cold personality treatment, kind of grows old after a while. He's a good protagonist, just not one of the best. Then you got Zidane. Zidane, Final Fantasy IX is my favorite Final Fantasy game in the series, but he's also he's cooler than Bart, in my opinion, but he's kind of like Bart. Charismatic, friendly guy. I don't know, there's something about him that I like more than your average JRPG protagonist. So yeah, he's also one of the best, and he gets some interesting development throughout the game, especially near the end. But I think Terra and Cloud are still better protagonists. Tidus, Final Fantasy X is one of the worst fucking protagonists, and I don't want to talk about him. 11 is an MMORPG. I'm gonna pretend Final Fantasy X-2 doesn't exist. Final Fantasy 12, Vaughn is the worst fucking protagonist, but the real protagonists from that game initially were going to be Bosch and Ash. And man, had those two been the real protagonists of Final Fantasy 12, those would be my pick. Great fucking characters, both of them. Ash, yeah, I know she's like overly sexualized and she looks like a freaking prostitute. Or why did they dress the character like that? Well, nah, I'm not complaining about the fan service. But she's a great character, right? But I'm gonna have to decide between both of them. Only one can be the protagonist. And sadly, that's Vaughn. And he sucks. He's the fucking worst. Final Fantasy 13, we've got Lightning. I couldn't care less about her. She's like a female version of Cloud, and I just don't like her, man. She's more like Squall, man. She's like the edgy, kind of like that, and then and I don't know much about her because I never finished a single game of the trilogy, so I don't really care about that game. 14 is an MMORPG. 15, oh no, man, no. Fucking Backstreet Boy, pseudo-gothic wannabe, man. Fuck that guy. He's not a bad protagonist, though, but no. Fuck no. Clive, finally, Final Fantasy 16. Clive, he's like the tragic hero, right? Tragic hero trope. Edgy, silent, but not really an asshole. He's also a goody two-shoes, but the game is an open world, and your actions and decisions kind of shape his personality. So, I don't know. And I never finished it. I was like, man, Clive turned out to be a great protagonist at the beginning, but then, along with the game and everything else, it just went downhill from there, so he can't be the best. Okay, so in conclusion, who's the best? Too bad I can't pick Bash or Ash. Bosch or Ash. Because those will be my pick, definitely. So I guess my real contest is between Terra, who isn't really a protagonist, Cloud, and Zidane. I love Cloud, but I don't want to pick Cloud, so I'm sticking with Zidane. The end. Zidane is the best protagonist, just because he belongs to my favorite Final Fantasy game ever. That's my argument. Favorite male is character? Not Adol Christine, right? I'm guessing you're asking that? There's just too many. I mean, I'm gonna have to go backwards. Is 9. Let me think of the guys. So there's the vulture guy, forget his name, the blondie. Nah, too edgy, and I mean, he's a fucking asshole. And then there's the guy who kind of dresses up all kind of gothic and religiously. Well, he's kind of a boring character. The guy who's like a crippled in real life. I forget his name. Who else is there? Those are the only two guys besides Adol. Okay, so no. Good characters though, but they can't be my favorites. And then he's 8. So there's this guy, the bulky guy, the fisherman. Yeah, he's likable, but no, not really. I'm guessing you're asking about the playable characters, right? So there's the guy with a hat. What's his name? Fights with a gun. I like that character. He seemed kind of cliche at the beginning, kind of like the classic edgelord. But he grew on me, and he had some interesting development and story. Hummel, thanks. Yeah, Hummel's okay. That's a great character. And that's it for the male guys in Is 8. Playable. Is 7, we got Doggy. Fucking Doggy. Is 7 is the only one where he's a playable character. But his Doggy's never been like one of, such an interesting character. No, not really. Who else is there? The little kid from the tribe? Nah, not really. And there was another one, the guy from Is 6. The guy with the halberd. You fight this guy on Is 6. I forget his name. I like that guy too. Great character. I forget his name though. And that's it. Oh, Celceta. Okay, Celceta. So you got this guy who looks like Doggy but isn't the Doggy. Your first party member, the blue hair ponytail. He's a great character actually. I like that guy. Yeah. Yeah, I like that guy. He's also one of my favorites. And then you get the guy from the village. No, not really. I like him. The guy from the tribe. He's okay though, but not one of my favorites. And that's it for the males, right? Every other character after that you get in Celceta are females. Yeah. And that's it. Those are the only Is games where you have party members. Just fucking forget about Is strategy, okay? Let's pretend it doesn't exist. And it's a spin-off anyway. Yeah, from 6-6, Is 6 and below you have no party members, so that's it. So I guess my favorites will be the guy from Celceta, I forget his name, Hummel from Is 8, and the guy with the halberd from Is 7. I had to decide. I guess I will go with Hummel. Yeah, Seems like the more interesting guy. But I'm more about the girls. If we talk about my favorite female girls, female characters in the E series, holy shit. That's, yeah. Anyway, will a turn-based East game work? As long as it's some kind of spin-off, right? I think it will work, it will definitely work. We could get some kind of spin-off, some kind of crossover. But I guess everybody will pick a crossover. No, a crossover wouldn't work. No, some kind of spin-off, like what East Strategy tried to do, but developed by people with a freaking brain and talent. Yeah, a turn-based East game will work, just not mainline, okay? What are my favorite movies? My favorite movie of all time is The Thin Red Line. It's kind of an interesting movie, you know, because back then the two protagonists of that movie are Sean Penn and Jim Caviezel. And nowadays they're like in completely opposite political spectrums. Jim Caviezel is a far-right political thinker, and Sean Penn is like a really far-left political thinker, right? And I can't believe they worked together in my favorite movie of all time, The Thin Red Line. Love that movie, man. One of the very few World War II movies that really depict how soldiers feel and felt and what they really went through without shocking exaggerations like Saving Private Ryan and the hero trope bullshit. So yeah, The Thin Red Line. Other favorite movies of mine are, well, I'm a big fucking diehard David Lynch fan, so almost anything from David Lynch. Although some of his most popular movies I'm not really a fan, like Blue Velvet. I like the movie, but I don't know, man. Elephant Man was also kind of boring, but I'm a big fan of Eraserhead, I'm a big fan of Mulholland Drive. Lost Highway, definitely. Inland Empire, holy shit. I'm also a big fan of other... Fight Club? Fight Club is one of my favorite movies of all time. Fucking love Fight Club. Been watching that movie over and over again since I was like 14 years old, 15 years old. I'm a big fan of Alien and Predator, but only the first movies. I think Alien 1, 2, and 3 are excellent. Resurrection was kind of lame. And the new movies, Covenant and... what was the name of the other one? Prometheus. They're good movies, you know. They're okay movies, but they're not on the same level as the first three. And then Predator 1 and 2 are excellent. And then it went downhill from there. Although Predators, in plural with Adrian Brody, wasn't bad, I think. But it's not great either. Yeah, I love The Crow, great movie. Some Stanley Kubrick movies, not all of them. I think 2001 Space Odyssey is a good movie, but I think it's kind of overrated. It's not that great. For its time, it was a masterpiece, I guess. You know, but nowadays you watch it and you're like, yeah, it's okay at best. Full Metal Jacket, though, fucking master. I love it, man. Full Metal Jacket. The Shining. Stephen King can hate that movie all he wants. I love the fucking movie. Great movie, The Shining. What else? Well, I like Interview with the Vampire, the original movie, the first one. Okay, well, the second one was called The Queen of the Damned. It fucking sucks. But the Interview with the Vampire was awesome. The movie and the book. I mean, it turned out to be awesome because the writer herself wrote the script for the movie. And then The Crow, the first Crow movie, masterpiece. And yes, this is the final boss theme of Octopath Traveler 2. And I know, right? It's fucking amazing. The music. Oh, The Thing. The John Carpenter's version. That's a great movie. Although there was a remake. And the protagonist was Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And I thought it was going to be horrible. And I watched it. And I liked it. It was pretty good. Not as good as John Carpenter's version though, but it's good nonetheless. But yeah, The Thing, holy shit. The X-Files movie is also pretty good. What makes Final Fantasy IX your favorite in the series? The fact that it's got an amazing soundtrack, the fact that it's very charming, the fact that you control multiple protagonists at the beginning and then they all come up together and then see the end is the protagonist. letting you play from different points of view, certain parts of the game at the beginning. That was awesome. That was genius. The world design, the dungeon design, but especially the towns were freaking beautiful and engaging. The first town, Alexandria. Man, what a beautiful town. Lindblom was also pretty interesting. The story pacing is also one of the my favorite things, let alone the fact that I just mentioned that you can play with different points of view, how the game plays around with different perspectives, and how the sequence of events, how they happen throughout the game until the party comes together, I found that genius, like creative, very creative writing. I think that's Hironobu Sakaguchi's masterpiece, up there with Lost Odyssey, two of his best games of all time. It's such a great script, such a memorable script. The things that happen, it goes dark when it needs to go dark. It doesn't go overboard with anything. And you got this weird cast of characters from different races that they just look fucking weird, man, and I love that. Steiner looks weird, and he's a human being. Freya, what a great character. And every development each character gets, that's what makes the game so fantastic. I love Final Fantasy IX, and also in terms of gameplay mechanics, you gotta understand that I played 9 before 10 or 12, and before that was my first Final Fantasy game ever, actually. And I just love the battle mechanics, how they were kind of like in real time, but with turn-based. I mean, the enemy was not gonna wait for you, and the camera played on different perspectives and angles, and then some characters had this appeal to them, like Vivi casting magic sword on Steiner and him doing a lot of damage, I don't know, Amaranth throwing things, Garnet and Eiko summoning Eidolons and these huge creatures. I don't know, I know it's been overdone by the Final Fantasy series, but that was my first experience with the game, with a battle system like that, so I found it pretty interesting. Yeah, I could go on. I love Final Fantasy IX. I think that's what makes it so great, and that's what made it my favorite. What aspect of Vesperia did you actually enjoy? A lot of it. I think if you play the game on easy, the game's pretty balanced. It's not that difficult. On normal mode, it's pretty difficult. But I love the battle mechanics in Tales of Vesperia. Great combat, man. It's one of the best in the series in terms of combat. I love the pacing of it. Well, at the beginning, it's kind of a slow start. That first dungeon where you rescue Estelle, it's kind of a pain to traverse. But after you get Estelle and repeat and go out into the overworld, I mean, the game gets really good. That first town you reach, and then there's a huge monster attack, and you gotta save a little girl's plushie. It's dumb, but it's memorable. I remember that scene a lot. It's cool. I love other characters. Repeat was one of my favorite characters. Judith was sexy but also mysterious, and I always wanted to know more about her. The plot twist with Raven was interesting. Carol is kind of a dumb character, but he gets some really interesting development and you grow to appreciate him more. Rita was kind of a mixed bag. I liked her, but not that much. Wasn't the biggest Rita fan, but I liked her nonetheless. Yeah. Some music themes from Tales of Vesperia are kind of cool, are very memorable. The Yuri versus Flynn battle theme is pretty good. Fury Sparks, I guess. I think that's a name, yeah. Yeah, music is great. Yeah, overall the pacing. No wonder if Vesperia is considered as one of the best Tales games ever. It is... If I was to make a top 5, it will be there on the 5th place, I think. 6th or 6th place, definitely, yeah. So you could say it's one of my favorites. So that's what makes Tales of Vesperia great. Not just Yuri. I think I remember when... sorry. A couple of streams ago, we were just talking about that character. That will Tales of Vesperia be as great if Yuri wasn't the main character and instead we got a generic protagonist? Actually, the answer was no. It wouldn't be that great. But you still have everything else. You still have a phenomenal battle system. You still have other characters. You still have the pacing that I was telling you about, the music, and you still have the the world itself, the adventure itself, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, Yuri makes it greater, but even without Yuri, the game's still great. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Tales of Vesperia, great game. 300 votes! Thanks a bunch, man. Whoever was the last voter. So there we go. That is the result, everybody. Do you play indie RPGs? Definitely 42%. That's awesome. Just a few, 38%. And nah, 18%. That's great. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching this Q&A. Thank you to everybody who donated today. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.